Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name's Kim and today I'm going to kickstart my video off by showing you my first make of 2024. So I have made the McCall's M8325 version B, and I made it as is with a small adjustment, and I'll talk through that in a moment. I made it with some Nerida Hansen fabric, so I have my little fabric card here with all of the information on, and you know, if you have watched me before, how I make these up, and it stores all the information which comes useful to when I get around to making a garment. So this Nerida Hansen fabric I bought recently, only in November, and I bought it from Beyond the Pink Door, and it is 115 grams per square meter. It's 100% cotton sateen, and yeah, and I bought 2.5 meters, and I used about 1.75 meters. So I made a size large, which says I should use 1.5 meters. I used a little bit more because of the adjustment that I made, so that's about right. So I have 3/4 meter left. So my fabric index card will go back into its box, into the section which is less than 1 meter left of fabric. So that will go back into my fabric box. All of the details about my make, as you know, will be put onto one of my project sheets, and I've made some notes about it, so when I come to make this top again, I will refer back to this, and then if there's anything that I had difficulty with, I'm already ahead of the game because I've made a note of it. So I'm going to stand up and show you the top. So this is her. So she is absolutely beautiful. The fabric is gorgeous. So the pattern itself, you have a nice round neck, and you have these pleats in the front, and from the middle they point out towards the sleeve. Then the stitching finishes just above the bust line, and then the rest of the fabric just cascades down, and it makes this floaty top. It's really pretty. The back is plain. It does have an opening which is fastened with a hook and eye. Now the only adjustment I made was to the sleeves. So the pattern has a sleeve that finishes here, and all I've done is I've extended the sleeve so it falls below the elbow. It's just a personal thing for me. I like my sleeves to fall below my elbow, and I've encased it with some elastic, and it's very loose and very comfortable. So that is my first make of this top, and I will definitely make it again. I really enjoyed making it. The fabric is beautiful and the fit is really, really good. So that is something I will revisit again, and I will make more of these. And they're very comfortable as well. Obviously straight after Christmas it's quite nice to have something loose whilst we try and get rid of any Christmas weight that we have gained. Right, what else did I work on over Christmas? Well, I had a bit of fun really, because before Christmas I showed you this. I dug this out of my stash. He has been in my stash for a while, and I pulled him out because obviously it was Christmas, and I thought, oh, it's a Christmas decoration, I'll make him up for Christmas and he can go on the Christmas tree. And I pulled out all of the stuff inside, and then realised afterwards there weren't any instructions on how to make him. I mean, I could have tried to make him up doing my own thing, but I decided I would try and look for the magazine. Now he comes from a magazine called Molly Makes, and I used to subscribe to Molly Makes when they first started to publish their magazines. I subscribed for quite a while, and then I stopped subscribing, and I thought I had all of the magazines somewhere, but I have obviously either recycled them or given them away because I could not find a single one. So thankfully on the back of this packet it actually tells you what issue this decoration is in. So I went on the hunt and found the magazine. So I purchased this. I was hoping that it would come before Christmas so I could work on the decoration and get it on the tree before Christmas is over and done with. But unfortunately the magazine didn't come until after Christmas. Obviously, you know, post is very busy. So I didn't receive him until after Christmas, and I debated whether to make him or not. But when the magazine came through, I just thought he looked so much fun, and I, you know, it wouldn't take long to make. So I sat down one evening and started to work on him. So here he is. He is so cute. He is so colourful. I just love him. I should give him a name really. So he's all hand stitched, and the instructions tell you obviously each stage, and the nice thing is you have to do your own stitching on the blanket, and I did my own thing on the blanket. But when I got to this side, I actually put the date 2024, and the reason why I put that date on is because that will be the first time that he goes on the Christmas tree. So he's all finished up and he will be stored safely until next year, and he'll go on the Christmas tree next Christmas, but that's a long way away. So that's something else I finished and out of my stash, so that was quite a nice fun thing to make. So at Christmas my son George and his girlfriend Danny came for Christmas dinner, and we were sitting there in the evening just chatting away and playing games, you know, the usual stuff that you do. And Danny said she would like some new cushions for her bed. They just bought a huge bed and they have covered it with a orange duvet, somebody else who's obsessed with orange. And they said that they wanted something that would break up all of that orange. And at the time I was sitting on the sofa and I have this chair with all of my cushions on, and one of the cushions is made up of scrap fabric, and it's Calf Fassett fabric. I love his fabric, and I've used it quite a lot in some of the bags that I've made in the past, and I have this stash of scrap, and every so often I make up little squares, and I made up this cushion. And Danny said I wouldn't mind one of those cushions, or two of those cushions, in orange tones to go with my bed. So I started to work on these little squares. So I'll show you the cushion that I'm starting to make for myself, so you can see really how it's constructed. So here you can see this is all Calf Fassett fabric, and these are just little scraps that I have, and it's got a border of just plain navy cotton and it's piping. So generally these, I make up these little squares. They're only 3.5 inches square, but they just work so well together, and I just put a center colour in the middle which makes those colours pop. So because I have quite a lot of scrap, like most of us do, I decided that I would start making up some little squares. So with orange tones, so I've been making up these little orange squares for them for their cushions. So far I have got as far as this. So you can see their cushion is 4 squares by 4. The one that I've just shown you is 5 squares by 5. So really you can make them as small or as big as you want. So that's the first one, and it's every square has got some orange tone in it. Okay, that's the first one, and that's the second one. it's a bit more than Calf Fassett in here. I think these are Calf Fassett, Tula Pink and anything else that I could find in my stash. So they're not solely just Calf Fassett fabrics. So I thought I would show you how I make them up. So basically you get your scrap and you have some strips. So you have strips like this. You just get some strips, and I usually cut my strips to at least 2 inches wide, because then you can cut them back to the size that you want. So generally I will have 3 strips. So I have 3 strips and I've cut one in half. So the one that you've cut in half has a contrasting fabric that sits in the middle. So once it's stitched together, it will look like this. So I've trimmed one side. So I usually go off and I trim both sides. So this side still needs to be trimmed. So I trim both sides so I've got a nice clean strip. Then once both sides are straight, I would then make sure that this strip has been trimmed nice and cleanly, and then I would stitch that to one side, and then I would stitch the other strip to that side. So you end up with effectively a block that needs trimming down. So then you decide how big you want your square to be. Now I have a small 3.5 by 3.5 inch ruler. So I use this because I had it in my stash. So I just make all of my squares to 3.5 squared. But you can make yours 4, 4.5, whatever, you know, suits, you know, whatever you want the squares for. So once you have the squares, I generally make my squares up as I go along. So I do find sometimes when I'm a bit stuck in between projects, I'll just sit down and make a few squares, and then when I've made them, I just shove them in my drawer. And like as Danny said, you know, could you make me a cushion? The first thing I did is I would go through the drawer and just pick out everything that had an orange tone to it. So I had a little bit of a head start, and I did manage to complete one of these without actually stitching any squares, because I already had quite a lot of these already in my stash. So I only had to work on the next cushion, and they don't take long. They're just a bit of fun, and you can do them when you've got a bit of spare time, and when you don't want to start doing a whole project, but you think you have an hour or so and you think, I'll just make something quick, and they are quick. And my plan originally was to make hundreds of them so I could make up a quilt. And this idea came from a lady called Terry Rowland, and she makes up beautiful quilts using this method. And if I can find her, find that video, I will link it so you can go and have a look. So once I have made up the base squares, I then will put a border on, and this time I'm putting an orange border on their cushion, and I will back it with that fabric, but also I put on a backing and quilt it. So this is the backing. Now this backing is soft and stable, so I use a by Annie product called Soft and Stable, and I use it for cushions, makeup bags. I used it for Danny's open wide bag that I made her a while back for her birthday, and it's just a nice backing, and it's got softness to it, but it gives it some stability and durability, I believe. So what I've done is really all I've done is just stitched around each of the squares and followed the you know, the pattern, the stitch lines, and that's replicated on the back. So that's firmly stitched, and I believe by doing that it just makes the cushion feel more lush, more professional. It looks really nice. So they're the 2 cushions that I'm working on for them, and I hopefully will get them finished this week, so you should see those finished in my next video. But you know, if you've got any scraps, this is this is a great scrap busting project. You can just make these up as you go along, and you'd be surprised what you can use them for. I mean, you could use them to make makeup bags or any bag. You can make it to make a tote bag with the soft and stable on the back to give it a bit of firmness. I mean, it's endless what you can do with these squares, and that's probably why I do them, because every so often I will see something and instantly I will think, oh, I can use my little squares. So that's my ongoing project, so hopefully you will see that finished in my next video. Those of you that have been following me for a while will know that I've been involved in the Queen of Diamonds EPP, English Paper Piecing Quilt project. Now, I subscribed to this project quite a while back, and the actual sewing part of it started last, I think it was October, and we're now into month 8. So each month the company who supply the fabric bundles to make up each of these blocks that then make up the quilt, and I'll put an image of the quilt up so you can see what it should look like when it's finished. They will send a bundle of fabric, and I receive my month 8 bundle of fabrics. So to give you an idea of what the blocks look like, I'll show you what I completed for month 7. So in month 7 there were 4 blocks. So there were edge blocks. So this was one of the edge blocks, second edge block. You can see it was like a corally colour for month 7, and that's the diamond, beautiful lion. And these are all made up with Tula Pink fabrics, absolutely beautiful fabrics. They're so vibrant, and she gets her fabrics to work so well together. Now, I received my bundle fabrics here, and it has Queen of Diamonds month 8 on the front. I haven't opened it, so I'm quite excited to see what's in here. I have an idea, because when you sign up for this subscription you get a manual which has all of the diamonds in it, so you will know what fabrics are coming and how you cut those fabrics out to make each of the diamonds. So this month, so you get a nice list of what's included in your fabric bundle. So this month you can see it's quite a pink theme. So I will just quickly show you each of the fabrics so you can see them, and they're beautiful. They are so beautiful. Giraffes, love giraffes. Now, I have made a blouse in this. I will show it to you one day. More pink. Pink elephant. Now, I have had some of this fabric in the past in the blue, and if you remember, I made Danny a open wide bag for her birthday using the blue elephant fabric, and I also made a little case, if I can find it. So I made this machine needle case with this blue fabric with some of her dot fabric for an internal effect, with some felt that I bought when I was in Swanage. So that's in use, and I love this, so it's really nice, and I love the fabric. So I've got some nice pink elephant fabric now, and there's some plain fabrics in this pack. So once they're made up, I will show you those once they're completed. So that's quite nice to receive those, because I haven't had any of those for a while, because Lovely Jubbly, who supplied these fabrics on behalf of the project, were attending a show, and then it was Christmas, so it all got sort of delayed a bit, but we're back on track, so you should see more of those come in each month. So that's my Queen of Diamonds EPP. For those of you that don't know what EPP is, it's English paper piecing. So it's basically where you are provided with a paper template. The fabric is cut so it wraps around that template, and then each of the templates, so you can see the paper here, and the fabric is wrapped around it, and then what you do is you will hand stitch each of these pieces together, and then it finishes the block. So it's something that I do in the evening. It's a slow sew project, and I quite enjoy doing that, and because it's monthly, you get this trickle of work come in that you can do at your own pace. Right, my purchases since I last spoke with you was not a lot really. So I bought the orange fabric to finish off George and Danny's cushion, so this will be for the border and the back, and if I have any left I'll do some piping on those cushions. So I bought a metre, so that should be plenty to make up those two cushion backs and fronts. I also bought some cottons from my favourite cotton thread supplier, Minions of Craft. Now, as you know, I did a video on how I store my fabric and also how I store my cottons and threads, and when I do my fabrics, when I get my new fabrics in, I take a swatch and then I write down details about that fabric, and then I know that once my fabric is in my stash, I can refer back to this card and it will give me all the information I need. Also on this card I will put a cotton code index, so I will check to see what cotton I need, so that when I come to work on this fabric I have the cotton already in my stash, so I can just get sewn straight away. So when I get a new fabric in, I put that code on a shopping list, and then when that shopping list gets to a sizable number of cottons, I'll then place an order. So I have I have been buying quite a lot of fabric lately, and I've been through my stash and looked at a few things, and I've also bought some cottons that work with them. So I have quite a bit of cotton this time round, because I've been buying a lot of pink sweatshirting, so I bought some pink, and I do have some pink fabrics as well. So I have my cottons, and these will be stored into my cotton stash. I also have decided that this year I want to start building up my overlocker thread collection, because the only overlocker thread I have in my collection is white, black, like a dark brown, like a denim blue and navy, and I think cream. So there's not a lot of colour there, so I thought I would start building up my overlocker colours. So I bought 4 cones of this like soft lilac colour, and I thought this would also work well with light greys, etc. So I thought I'll buy that. And I've also bought this, it looks red but it's like a dark pink colour, and I do have a lot of pink fabric in my stash, and I bought 4 of those. So I also bought those from Minions of Craft. Now Minions of Craft do a 5% discount, so if you join their site and you subscribe and join, they will just give you a 5% discount. It doesn't cost you anything, it's totally free, and everything you buy after them, that 5% discount gets applied, and they are so reasonably priced anyway that to get an extra 5% is a bonus. So I do use them each time I need my fabric, my cottons, and I do use Gutermann fabrics, cottons. I do use Gutermann cottons in my Bernina machine and don't have any problems with it at all. So I think that is it for today. I hope you've enjoyed the content, and I look forward to seeing you very soon.